Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to a brand new video, and today we are going to be simulating a season with Liverpool's new team. A couple of new players to talk about. Also, we're going to be looking at the formation and how they're going to line up. This is a new sort of concept I've got on this channel, which I do plan to do with a few teams, so I hope you do like it. If you do like it, then please do leave this video a like. Be sure to comment below if you want to see any other teams in particular done this way as well, and be sure to subscribe to the channel. But let's get in to the tactic breakdown. So before we actually break down the tactic and how I think they're going to play, let's talk about their new players then, shall we? So the first guy is going to be Calvin Ramsey, obviously a player which they signed not obviously to get into the first team because they've got great fullbacks as it is, but this guy is obviously a great prospect and someone who I feel will naturally suit. I mean, he's going to be Scottish, so him and Robertson are going to get on like a house on fire. And I think that it is a good option to have someone. Also, his age is 17. Obviously, he's not even going to be in the first squad, I don't imagine. But for this purpose of this save, we are going to have him in the first team, just in case he does get any game time. And we can see how he does. But this was a smart signing for Liverpool, in my opinion, because they're not a team which you see all the time going out and spending big money. The likes of City, United, all the other big teams, probably Chelsea as well. But when they do sign a player, it is a player which usually always works out. Of recent times, the only player which I think they've signed and has not worked out to the best is probably Minamino. But that wasn't a ridiculous amount of money, was it? Really wasted. And, you know, he didn't exactly flop bad. He just wasn't as good as what I thought that Klopp would have turned him into. But Calvin Ramsey, a fantastic signing for the future, and definitely someone who I think for that price that they paid was definitely a good shout at the end of the day. Obviously, he isn't getting the main highlight of the transfer news. Obviously, there is Núñez, who we are going to talk about in a second. But for a backup fullback, for someone to develop at the club, it's one hell of a signing. But let's talk a little bit about Núñez. So, this is obviously the signing which we're all, you know, everyone's talking about, other than Haaland. He come for 85 million, so it's a loss of money, but that is what you pay for a top striker. Obviously a Benfica, a club that makes so many good players. It is honestly ridiculous. I was saying this in one of my previous videos about top 10 saves that you guys should try out, and I was saying that Benfica do make some really good players, and this is another player who's really thrived there. But the reason why I don't think that this is actually too of an expensive signing is because obviously Liverpool were in a bit of a situation here, because Man City obviously won the Premier League, and they've also strengthened incredibly by bringing in Haaland. I'm talking purely about up top here. I know they've strengthened in other areas as well, but Man City decided to bring in Haaland that strengthens them going forward when they, you know, were winning leagues with even out having a world-class striker up top. And I think Liverpool, they weren't forced into signing this player. I don't want to say forced in the sense of, you know, they feel like they had to go out and grab anyone, because this guy is probably the second best player on the market that they could have got. And honestly, and I've been asked this before, I genuinely think Núñez in the first season is going to score more goals than Haaland. I genuinely think that, because I think that Klopp is a lot better at settling players in quickly, and I think that Núñez is going to sort of thrive and get quite a few goals in the first season. He's very similar to Haaland in the terms of, you know, they're both quite tall, they're both quite physical strikers. Obviously, Haaland's probably got a lot more of a worldwide sort of name because he has been playing in a tougher division. He has also done it in the Champions League, and obviously, you know, he's just a very well-known player, isn't he, at the end of the day? But I think Núñez was definitely an option which Liverpool had, and, you know, there were rumours of him going to United, but obviously if United didn't move quick enough, and even if they did, you're going to pick Liverpool over United at the moment if you want to win stuff. But no, the reason why I think 85 million doesn't seem too bad is because, one, he is one of the best strikers that you could possibly get on the market. Two, there must have been a bit in there from Benfica knowing that Liverpool needed him badly just to sort of try and react to Man City, because when Man City win the league and then they go and sign Haaland, as well as the other players they've signed, Liverpool couldn't sit back and sign no one. Like, can you imagine if Liverpool only signed Calvin Ramsey, who we just talked about, I believe. I hope I didn't get that name wrong. That'd be really bad memory. But if they only signed him and not Núñez, the fans would not let it go. And to be honest, there's still like loads of Liverpool fans, and they're right. They could do with a couple more positions being strengthened. And do I think it's going to happen this window? No, I don't, because I think 85 million is a lot of money to spend, and Liverpool typically don't spend loads and loads of money in one window. They are spenders. I think that's a big misconception. People don't think that they spend at all. They do spend, but when they spend probably the smartest of anyone in the Premier League, other than the likes of Leicester, who obviously, you know, do seem to pick up these world-class players for pennies, but Liverpool, when they do splash the cash, like they did, you know, on the likes of Alisson, for example, comes to mind, Van Dijk as well, they really do bring in great players. Or possibly when they come to the club, they're not even world-class players, but Klopp really develops into something special, and I think that is what he's going to do with Núñez. But let's talk about a couple players then who I think that Liverpool should go for in the future. So the first one is going to be a player who is going to be difficult to get, especially after I saw a little interview of Haaland joking about Bellingham going to England next year. I think he would genuinely be the perfect player for Liverpool, because he's a great midfielder, but he's a very hard worker midfielder as well. He's not really elegant, if that makes sense. He's not like a David Silva dribbling in and out of loads of players. He's brute force, big player, works very hard for the team, good work rate, and I think under Klopp, I think he'd be the perfect player to have. And yes, he's going to cost a fortune. He could easily become the most expensive player. I mean, you're talking, I don't know exactly how much, but we're talking over 100 million easily. And, you know, I don't know how much he's got left on his contract. Usually it's quite accurate. Yeah, he's got quite a few years left on his contract, if that is accurate. So, I mean, they're not going to be able to pull anything off like that. But I think if they manage to get Bellingham, I think they could go toe-to-toe with Man City easily. Whereas, obviously, now, I think they can still do it, purely because I think Klopp is the best manager in the Prem. And they have got a good team. But Man City, obviously, are strengthening ridiculously. They brought in Haaland. Obviously, you've seen Calvin Phillips come in as well. And they're not done there. They also want Cucurella from Brighton at left-back. They want to strengthen. Obviously, also, they brought in Alvarez. So, I mean, you have to spend to keep up with Man City, and I hope Liverpool do, because we do not want to see the Premier League become a one-horse race. That would not be fun at all. But I think Bellingham would be the perfect player. Like I said, it's easy for me to sit here and say he would be. It's not going to be easy to get him. And obviously, if Man City ever did go in the race for him, with that temptation of Haaland being at Man City, especially if it settles in, if Haaland settles in well, would Bellingham be tempted if Man City could afford him, which they can, and he wanted to go? Probably be tempted, but I hope Bellingham, I'm saying this as a United fan, which sounds really weird, but I hope he goes to Liverpool, because he wouldn't come to United. It'd be very stupid for him to come to United. But I genuinely think at Liverpool, he could easily become one of the best midfield players in the world. But he is already, but, you know, like, I'm on about, you know, going forward, like years into the future, he could develop into, you know, a real player. And it's scary how good he is at the age of 18 as well. So although it would be a ridiculous amount to pay for an 18-year-old, he plays like he's 23 in terms of knowledge, discipline. He's a really good player. But I'm going to go over another player now who I think, if they don't manage to get Bellingham, it's another good option they could go for. Now, this is going to be a player who I think he might even get snapped up this window. I know he signed a new contract, but obviously maybe towards the end of the season, probably not this window, sorry, but next season possibly still. But it's a bit more difficult to get into the Liverpool team, because Nkunku, he plays a lot of positions for Leipzig. He does play on the wing. He does play central. So I'm not entirely sure where he'd fit into Liverpool's team. He could get into the midfield. Obviously, I'm pretty sure Nkunku could get into that team now. He's a very good player. And I think that I am very surprised no club had gone in for him before he signed that contract, because obviously he was the best player in the Bundesliga. He's only 23 as well. And for a player that plays for, you know, Leipzig, not a team that won the league by any means of the imagination, to get the best player is very unlikely. Usually Bayern players, the occasional Dortmund player get it, but this is the guy that beat Bellingham for being the best player in the Bundesliga. So, I mean, he's a fantastic player. He's obviously 5 years older than Bellingham, but by 23 is not old at all, is it, for a player? And this is a player who I think possibly United could even go in for, because Nkunku, he's a very good player, but he might not have your Man Cities go in for him. I believe the team that were interested were Chelsea, and I think it'd be a great signing for Chelsea. But if Liverpool weren't able to get Bellingham, but they still wanted to strengthen midfield, I genuinely think Nkunku would be the next best option, because he is a player that will be, although he signed a new contract, if Leipzig don't miraculously start winning stuff, obviously he will look to move, especially in the next sort of season or two. And that sort of fits in perfectly with Liverpool, because I don't think Liverpool are going to look to bring in anyone else this window. So if you give it a year and Bellingham isn't available and Nkunku has another good season, why not go in for him? Because if Nkunku has another season, even similar to what he just had, he is a certified, you know, it wasn't just a one season sort of deal. But I mean, I'm actually a big fan of Leipzig. I watch Leipzig a lot, and Nkunku is a very good player. He has been for a couple of years now, and I genuinely don't know why no one's gone in for him, whether that be someone in the Prem or whether that be someone in the Spanish league, Italian, whatever league it is, because, or Bayern even. I'm surprised Bayern, because that is the thing that annoys me about the German football. Obviously, these players that do end up being very good, like Nkunku, like Sabitzer. Obviously, Sabitzer really got poached. Upamecano got poached by Bayern. I don't like it when Bayern just poach everyone, because it isn't great for the league, is it? But it would be really good to see Nkunku in the Premier League. And like I said, if Liverpool can't get Bellingham, this guy is a great shout. Moving on to how I think they're going to line up. Now, this is my tactic. It is the Jurgen Daly, Jurgen Klopp sort of remake tactic. You can find it on my channel. If I remember, I will leave it in the description. If not, I'll have a video card for it so you guys can simply click on it. But it is slightly tweaked. So the one thing I've changed is I've changed that false 9 to more of an advanced forward, because I don't know. I think Klopp is going to have to slightly change how he plays going forward if Núñez does fit in and he does sort of, you know, get the goals, because I don't think he's a Firmino type of striker. I think he's a selfish striker, which is very good. That's what you want. I'm not saying that in a bad sense. So I think he's going to be more of a pushed up striker. Obviously, I'm sure Klopp will get him pressing and everything like that, because you have to press in a Klopp team. So I don't mean it's just going to be sort of like a, you know, Ronaldo stale striker. But I think he is going to be selfish. And to be honest, I don't know if there is going to be a clash with Salah, because obviously Salah is a very selfish player as well, which is good because he's a forward player. But hopefully it all works out for him, because obviously that front three is absolutely deadly. Obviously they did lose Sadio Mane to Bayern. Very confused about that transfer, by the way, because I don't know why Mane decided to leave, because he said he wanted a new challenge, I believe, or something like that. But Liverpool aren't exactly dominating everything. Yes, they have had a very few good years, but they just come off not winning the Prem. If I was Mane, I would have died to stay in this team, because they're only going to get stronger. But I wish him the best at Bayern at the end of the day, and it does give Diaz a good shot. And obviously Diaz was one of the most lively players last season. But I think this is how it's going to line up, to be honest with you guys. We're going to have the likes of Alisson in goal, Trent, Van Dijk obviously cements his position in the team. Then it is going to be between Matip and Konate. Matip, the most underrated centre-back in the Premier League. He is so good, and I'm convinced people don't give him the credit he deserves. He's a really good centre-back, and, you know, Liverpool are quite good in that position, because they've got Joe Gomez, obviously a player which you don't see too much of nowadays. You got Konate, who hopefully one day is going to replace Van Dijk, obviously as Van Dijk does get older. Robertson at the back, and obviously, you know, you got Timiskas who can fill in there as a substitute. You've got Trent at the right back, and in this save we are going to have Ramsey, but you also got Gomez that can fill in there. Fabinho, again, a fantastic ball-winning midfielder in that role there. Jordan Henderson, pretty much. I mean, look at the depth they've got in midfield as well. This is the one thing I'll say is they do have depth, but it's just the depth isn't good enough. If you had Bellingham in this team, you then have players like Henderson, Thiago, possibly on the bench, which is really good players. But at the moment, the players they have on the bench aren't that great, being honest with you. But I mean, even that midfield now isn't horrendous, but it's just, I think, with Man City strengthening, like Man City's midfield is honestly ridiculous, especially now that they've signed Calvin Phillips, and they've also managed to keep Bernardo Silva, who was a player that did say he was planning on leaving. So, I mean, they've got Grealish, they've got Bernardo Silva, they've obviously got Kevin De Bruyne, they've got Rodri, they've got loads of players. And, yeah, I think Liverpool do need to sign a really, I can't even speak, world-class midfield player. Because Henderson's a great player, and one thing I will say about him is when he's not on the pitch, you do know, because he's sort of the glue. Obviously, he tells everyone what to do, he keeps everyone cool, sort of just, you know, you see him pointing on the pitch, checking over his shoulders all the time. He's so alert, and he's sort of one of them players who remind me of I don't want to disrespect, you know, Jordan Henderson here, but he reminds me of like well, okay, he reminds me of a Gerrard, to be honest with you. Like, he might not score tons and tons of goals. Gerrard did score quite a few rockets, to be fair to him, but he is sort of just like a Gerrard replacement, isn't he, in many ways? Very similar story. And I think he's a fantastic player, and definitely a player that they always need to have on the field when they can, without obviously causing injury to him. Then on the bench, I've obviously got the new man Carvalho here, who does struggle to fit into the system on Football Manager, not in real life, but obviously if you're going on Football Manager purely on roles. And one thing talking about Football Manager, Núñez has been pretty discredited, isn't he, for his ability. I mean, when I done, filter by best 11 and Núñez wasn't in the first team, I was like, what's going on here? But obviously Firmino on here is actually ranked higher, so I don't know when I simulate this season if they are just going to play Firmino over him. I will say use the current 11 when you can. So obviously I want to see Núñez in the first team and in the action, but the plan of this video now, guys, is to basically simulate one season. We're going to go over everything of the season, see how we compare to Man City, see who scored the goals, go through the data hub and all of this. So this is going to be a mixture of a tactic, and also it's going to be a mixture of exactly how they break out. And, you know, hopefully they can win the Premier League. But if you guys do want to download this tactic, it is going to be on my YouTube channel. It's literally called a Jurgen Klopp tactic. You can simply go on there. I will try and remember to put it in the description or add a video card. But if I don't, it will be on my channel. But this video is a mixture between a tactic and sort of a simulation. But let's get in to the end of the first season, and hopefully the new Liverpool team can win the Premier League. But before we do get into that though, guys, if you are enjoying this sort of video, how it's broke down, how they're made, then please do leave this video a like. Be sure to subscribe to the channel as well and turn on notifications. This way you're never going to miss an upload. You'll never miss when I go live, when I do a community post, or when I premiere a video. Sometimes I do premiere a video, especially if it's like one I've been working on for a while and I really want you guys to see it, and I speak to you guys in the chat. It really is good to see. But now let's go and hopefully see a Liverpool team that are Premier League champions. So we've simulated a season and it has gone incredible. We've won absolutely everything possible. And again, this isn't like a rebuild, so this isn't a video to show you how good the tactic is. Obviously it does play a part, and I genuinely believe this Klopp tactic I've made is very good. And if you guys haven't used it, do go and check it out. It's completely free to download, and honestly it does get really good results. But we've done everything. I mean, we've won the Premier League quite comfortably compared to Man City, to be honest. We will have a quick look at the actual schedule and see how we done against them directly, because I don't know if we didn't exactly do well against them directly, but they slipped up. We managed to win the FA Cup against Newcastle. Huge shout out to Newcastle for actually getting to the final of the FA Cup. I guarantee they spent a bit of money. Champions League, we actually managed to beat Man City head to head, which is very good to see. And then we also won the Carabao Cup against Tottenham, which again is a very, very good trophy to win. So we actually won the quadruple. And we were the best at scoring goals of 135, 26 goals conceded as well. So very good defensively. Like I said, this Liverpool team is very good, but it's just how they do against Manchester City. If they are a team that wants to be going for the title, you can't be losing games against not even against Man City. You can't lose games because Man City don't. They rarely lose a game. Mo Salah though, let's have a little discussion about this, shall we? That is the highest amount of goals I've seen in a while. 61 goals coming from Mo Salah. Now obviously this guy is the best of the best. He is honestly incredible. His 5-star ability, he is one of the best finishers you can get on this game. So I'm not saying that's purely down to the tactic. The guy's got 18 finishing, is quick, you know, off the ball's great as well. Good vision, good technique. Everything about him is very good. But 61 goals is outrageous. And now I'm very keen to go into the squad and have a little look. Hopefully Núñez actually got to play some games. Well, that is incredible as well. Núñez, a player who has gone up already ability-wise. He's on the up on the bravery. A load of stuff is going into the green now. What a season. 57 goals. Now, as realistic as Football Manager is, I don't think he's going to be scoring 57 in real life. But 57 goals in his first season. Diaz there contributing with 32 as well. Even Van Dijk coming up with 19, Thiago with 16. But Núñez nearly come in and actually got top goal scorer, which is honestly incredible. What a season that is for him. Obviously, Salah did score a few extra goals. He did start or have 3 more games than him, so possibly Núñez would have matched that depending on who he was playing. In terms of assists, then we've got 39 from Trent, and this is what I was saying about this Klopp tactic, and this is one thing I will say. If you guys are playing with a team where your fullbacks are really good and they've got a great pass on him, do try this tactic, because you've got Trent coming in with 39 assists. You've got Robertson coming in with 24, Diaz with 27, Salah with 21, Hendo with 18, Núñez with 11. Best rating coming out of going to be Trent, actually, which is very, very good to see. A fullback getting the best player of the season. And if we go into the schedule then, wow. I mean, it's going to be a lot of green here, guys. It might be better to just focus on the losses, to be honest, but an 8-0 win there stands out against Palace. We do slip up to West Ham there. Unfortunately, went 2-0 down in that game there, but we absolutely dominated everything. Even against Man City here is one thing I want to see. A 5-1 win. And if we look at the Man City team, yeah, it's incredible. They've got Haaland. I don't know if they do have they don't have Phillips. unfortunately. I don't know why I haven't got Phillips, and yet I had... That's very strange. But one player doesn't change the whole thing. I don't even know if Phillips would start on Football Manager, to be honest with you. But I mean, everything is just looking great with this simulation, guys. I mean, if this is what near what Liverpool are going to do next season, then Liverpool fans, I'd get celebrating now. I don't think you are going to win everything, obviously. Next season, we'll do a little prediction section at the end of this, because that would be quite a cool idea. I like that idea. Do like that idea. But we end up in the it'll be the Carabao Cup final. We'll beat Tottenham 3-1. The FA Cup, where's the final? A 2-0 win against Newcastle. Feel quite bad about that, because Newcastle getting to a final is a big accomplishment. And then Man City, we managed... That is mental. I actually kind of want to go. I want to watch the goals on this. Let's watch the goals, because that is 2 goals in the 90th minute to equalise and then win the game. Let's speed this up a little bit. Let's look at the goals then. So it's Bernardo Silva down the line into Walker, into that's one hell of a ball over the top. Grealish with a power header. That's poor defending. It's poor defending. But we actually ended up winning this game. A goal in the 93rd minute it would be. It's going to be Diaz comes in. Great press from James Milner, the work engine, and a rocket into the top right corner. So fair play to him. That's an equaliser then. We didn't have Chamberlain, so we must have had some players injured. A ball over the top into Mo Salah in the 95th minute, who takes it just to a bit of, the edge of Edison and tucks it in. That is one hell of a comeback, isn't it? To win the Champions League, to equalise in the Champions League by that many in that minute, let alone win it. Absolutely incredible. And if we have a quick breakdown of the stats, yeah, it's honestly disgusting, guys. I know roughly what you get from this tactics. Obviously, I did make a video on it, sorry. But 3.5 goals a game scored, decent pass completion as well, and a defending's going to be really good as well, under a goal conceded. So you're expected to concede less than a goal and score 3. Should be a lot of wins in there, which it ended up being at the end of the day. But this is going to be a bit of the video now where we're going to talk about honest predictions. Now, obviously, this went incredible. Do I see Liverpool winning the Premier League next season? No, I don't. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to do one of these for City as well. I don't see Liverpool winning the Premier League next season. I think Man City have strengthened so much, it is ridiculous. Like, I mean, I know I've sat here and said Núñez will score more goals than Haaland. I do think he will. But I think Man City will win the Premier League. I can see Liverpool winning one of the English trophies. I can see him winning it. And they're a team which, obviously do want more than that. I can see him doing that. Can I see him winning the Champions League? Yes, I can. Because obviously, they've got to a final quite a few times now. Obviously, Real Madrid just sort of not outclassed them as in dominated, but I feel Real Madrid got them annoyed. They caught them off guard. Trent had a bit of a howler marking, didn't he? So I don't think they're going to win the Prem. I can see him winning the Champions League and possibly an English trophy, being the Carabao or the FA Cup. That is my honest predictions going into the next season. And that would still be one hell of a season. But that is going to be it for today, guys. If you have enjoyed this video and you like the idea, please do leave a comment below. And also, comment below what you think Liverpool are going to win, if they are going to win anything as well. Because I do like to hear your guys' opinions, interact, and we can have a good conversation about it. And last but definitely not least, guys, please do subscribe to the channel for more content. There's pretty much content coming daily to you guys now. And that is going to be it, guys. Hope you have enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one.